everyone, I'm Rita with Everything Homemade, and this is the 10th video in the series on how to garden. Now, I haven't posted for about a week because if you see behind me, the weather is not very nice. We actually have a break for the moment from the rain, so I'm filming this on the patio, so one, my camera doesn't get wet, and it's just a lot nicer to tape. What I'm going to do in this video is show you the progress of the plants that we started, and I'm going to dive in on how to draw up a garden plan. And that's really important because when I get out in the garden and the rain stops and it's sunny for a day and dries things up enough for my husband to go in and rototill, I want to know what I need to do. What is my plan and where things need to go? So I'm going to be looking at height of the plants. I'm going to be looking at direction of the sun. I'm going to be looking at shady spots in the garden. And I'm going to start showing you what are my options and how I can manipulate where certain plants can go. And because I planted last year, I also need to rotate my crops. So I'm going to cover all of that in this video while I can't plant outside. So let's just take a quick look at the plants. This is the marjoram. These are the marigolds. Remember, the marigolds have the toughest time. They're very old seed, so only so many germinated, but I'm happy because this is a very heirloom seed, and it's really nice that I had something germinate with this one to carry on keeping seed. Cabbage, look at it grow. This is cauliflower, kale, parsley, peppers. This is chamomile, more kale, and then this one's either cabbage. I can't read the label on the side, but I think that one is cabbage, or part of the cabbage family. Anyway, the tomatoes, look at them beauties. Oh my, they really took off now. And you notice that even though I started them a lot later than most do, their stems are really nice and thick. There's something about a steady growth, not too quick, not too slow, creates a really strong plant. Parsley, more marjoram, and then some more marigolds. So let's go down to here. This is, we got, remember I said in the last video that my butternut squash hadn't germinated? Well, look at it now. I got 3 plants. Very poor germination in those particular seeds. Now those seeds are about 3 years old, so who knows, but we got 3 plants. That means that they will pollinate each other, so we're going to definitely do butternut squash. These 3 here, they're the pumpkins. They got beautiful true leaves coming. These 2 here are zucchini. Again, nice, beautiful leaves. And then we have the cucumbers, and they're just starting to get their true leaves in. Another couple zucchini there, a couple more cucumber, and then the corn. And the corn has taken off. And so basically everything is at the point where I need to transplant them into the garden, and we are just stalled at the moment because of the wet weather. So let's head upstairs to my desk and let's start planning our garden. Okay, so this is my gardening journal here, and basically I take a pen, and my garden is a rectangular. If you're one of those people that really like straight lines, I'm probably going to drive you crazy about at the moment, but basically I'm just going to draw out a rectangle because that's my garden area. I do know that from about here to here with a break and then something like that are my Saskatoons. There's some Saskatoons that were originally planted in this garden area. We will eventually take them out, but they are so mature and produce quite a bit that until our orchard Saskatoons get that mature, then I will take these ones out and try to transplant them. Saskatoons don't always like to be transplanted. So I know there is this area. Now, up here is south. Okay, and down here is north. So that's the direction that I know my garden is. So when I put the directions, I put it, not typically north is at the top of your page, but in this case, I'm doing this in what reality is. This side of the garden is south and the bottom is north, meaning that this side is east to the morning sun and this side is west. This side of my garden has a bunch of trees. So when the sun goes down over here, the garden goes into shade. Now we do live in, remember, I do live in the north, so we get a ton of daylight. We have such a short growing season, but we have a lot of daylight in exchange for that. So what I mean is by 4 o'clock in the morning, it's already light. But at the same time, you know, in a couple of weeks, it'll be like midnight, 1 in the morning, and it will be still light. There's only like 4 hours of darkness. So we get this such an extended period where the fruits and vegetables grow quicker than other parts of the world, even though we have a shorter growing season. We gain it by the extra light. So when the sun comes up here, this part of the garden gets a lot of morning sun, and it kind of casts kind of like this on an angle. So this part of the garden still basically is sleeping when the sun comes up. Then it comes around and it starts hitting the back part of the garden here and is shaded a bit by the Saskatoon. So I have this spot, but right here where we still have no sun until the sun starts to come across here. Now that's not until like 11 o'clock in the morning. So I'm missing all this critical sun that this part of the garden gets, but this part doesn't. When the sun comes around here, I'm dead on the highest part at noon and everything in the garden gets sun. But I also start beginning to shade here because I do have a fence, a 6-foot panel fence on this side, and about to here this part gets, I would say, filtered sun. Okay, so you got to remember that that would be like a good area for your lettuce, maybe for your red beets, vegetables that really hate the afternoon sun. It's so hot. Then on the west side, when the sun goes down, it'll go down around, well, July, it'll be around 9, 10 o'clock. And then in August, it starts going down sooner, and this part will be in shade by 9 o'clock instead of full sun in July. So there's a lot of dynamics here. So that's what you got to think about, is your area and how important the sun plays in gardening. Okay, so I made a list here, you guys, just a list off to the side here so I remember what I all want to plant. So I'm going to tackle the tall plants first. Some of the tall plants that we need is dill. Okay, dill really can be almost anywhere in the garden. It can handle a bit of shade, filtered sun over here. It could also handle direct sun. So I'm going to plant a bit of dill. The other taller plants is tomatoes. Now, I had tomatoes here last year, and I'm not going to plant tomatoes over here. So I got a pretty good crop of tomatoes. So I'm either going to have to put them more kind of starting at the fence here, kind of in this little nook, and kind of creep my way around my Saskatoons. I had them over here the one year and they did fantastic, so I'm not too worried about the little bit of filtered sun because I did still have a really good crop come in. So I might put them there. Other bigger items are they're not tall, but the cucumbers spread, and the cucumbers I'm going to utilize our hoops. We've got some large hoops that I'm going to put plastic over. The zucchini I'm going to put right around one of the edges here, and we got squash and pumpkin. they're big, and those are going to need the big white racks that you have so many have seen on my spaghetti squash video. So we're going to utilize that same technique. Instead of spaghetti squash this year, we're going to do butternut squash and pumpkin. So here we go. Okay, what I'm going to do is, this part of the garden works awesome for the racks. It just really does. What I'm thinking is we could do is do corn at the back here. So corn is also tall, and this part here gets a lot of the south facing sun plus the morning sun. So what I'm going to do is, I think close to the fence here line, I'm going to put corn here. And what I'm thinking I may actually do is do the corn and peas all the way back here, because if I combine the corn and the peas together, the peas are going to give the nitrogen for the corn to grow better, plus the peas can actually vine on the corn and kind of do a double duty. So I'm going to put corn slash peas, and I have a construction fencing back here, so the peas could also vine on the construction fencing, and they're quite tall. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do what we call companion planting. Those two go really well together. The other thing I'm going to do, this is kind of a bad spot. I don't want to put my cucumbers where the shade is heavy. I'm going to start putting them here. So I'm going to do like a messy triangle. This is my gate here. So I'm going to just kind of go like that. I'm going to go with my cucumbers right up to here, and to here. Okay. So these I'm going to just put cucumbers. Okay. And I have hoops that I'm going to be putting here. They're fairly large hoops, and we're going to be lining this with black plastic and with clear plastic on top, and I will go over that and the reasons why we do that. Now, I like to leave a pretty good walkway from the gate so we can get all our stuff in. So I actually leave this dead area. The other thing is I leave this area a little bit bigger because I have a 20-month-old, and I always leave a little area for her to dig in while we plant. So this is kind of like, I'll call play zone. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of go like that. That's kind of the play zone, so we can easily walk into the garden and no big deal. My mom did that with us when we were kids. She always had a play zone in the garden. We drove our trucks and dug. That was our place to play around. I still remember that today when she was gardening. Okay, so I'm going to cross off the list here. We got cucumbers, we have peas, and we have the, corn. And I didn't even put corn on the list here. Look at that. All right, corn. Okay, so the next thing is lettuce. Now, I'm thinking this is a really good spot for the lettuce right here. One, because lettuce does not like the afternoon sun. So I'm going to put lettuce of all kinds here. And we're going to just do a mix, whether that is some collards, whether that's, just some bush lettuce, leaf lettuce, sorry, not bush lettuce, leaf lettuce. That's a really good spot this year for it. Let's do that. Then, because the Saskatoons will give it nice shade. Okay, and with lettuce, we're definitely going to be planting the marigolds with the lettuce, because the marigolds help prevent the slugs from eating my lettuce, because slugs don't like the smell of marigolds. Okay, so now there's a big open area here. So I am actually going to put let's see here, we got lots of pumpkin. So I'm going to start right here. Right where the play zone is. We're probably going to put probably go right here because we're going to miss one of the racks. I'm going to put 3 racks right here, and this is going to be for the pumpkins. The pumpkins are going to be much larger plants, and so we're going to plant them right here. And on the opposite side of the garden, we're going to, right between these two Saskatoons, I'm going to place, oh, that might make a dead area. If I place a rack right here for the butternut squash, that's going to create a dead area. So let's do it right here. I'm going to place this little nook. This nook gets actually quite a bit of sun. So I'm going to go squash here. And that will not, you know, shadow everything, because I only have 3 plants of squash, so they can like chill out over there. Okay, so let's do squash there. Now I need zucchini, and then that'll give a really good distance. We should be like, I don't know, at least 30 feet between the two here, so that'll give some distance, so I'm not going to cross pollinate near as bad. I mean, you always have the risk, but it'll prevent it a bit more. There is some chives here, so I should just put that on there. There's a little bit of chives already planted in the garden. Now I need zucchini. Now zucchini, this might be actually a good spot for zucchini. So I'm just going to go Z here, and I'm going to kind of go out like this. We'll probably do zucchini like that. Something like that. So I'm thinking, right where these Saskatoons is, I'm thinking we're going to leave a little distance because I need to walk here to pick. So I'm going to put here, we're going to make like a 2-foot row by 9 foot here. And then kind of, if there is space about, we'll do another 2-foot by 9-foot row here, something like that. And this will be our cabbage family. So I'm talking broccoli, I'm talking cauliflower, kale, because I ordered from Amazon this year some hoops with fabric, because the farmer beside us is going to be planting canola, which also attracts those nasty cabbage butterflies, and I don't think marigolds is going to be enough. So I'm trying a new system out that I ordered that I think will be working really great, and if it does, I really highly recommend you order that for your cabbage plants. So let's say we're going to do our cabbage plant tunnels here. Okay, so this is close to the fence, but it still gets lots of morning sun, and even though this rack is here, the sun is very high. So I'm thinking that we are going to do we're going to do red beets in this whole area right here. So I'm going to put red beets. I'm going to put red beets here. And then we may actually, I'm going to put the dill away from the cabbage, because dill can sometimes attract aphids. Sometimes I have a good year and sometimes I have a bad year. So I am actually going to leave the dill to this side right here, away from the cabbage plants. The red beets seem to handle aphids a lot better if we have a bad year with aphids on the dill. So let's get that there. Then I think we got a tall thing coming up here, and we have got the tomatoes and the carrots left, and we got lots and lots of tomatoes. So I'm trying to debate whether we should go here or here. The sun kind of comes here. So I'm thinking that this year we are going to put a big spot like this right in the middle. We're going to go tomatoes, and then here we're going to make a few rows of carrots, because I can store carrots in the sand, I can can carrots, I can dry carrots and throw into soups. So carrots are really, really versatile. And I'm going to just put carrots, can't spell, and then I'm just going to put C for the rest. So this is the idea that I have. Now things can change a little bit when I'm in the garden, but this gives me a really good overview of what I want to do, and I like it so far. I think this will work. Now that this garden plan is complete, you might be asking me, what about the herbs, the parsley, the marjoram that I planted? What about the onions? What about the garlic? Well, garlic I already have planted in one of my flower beds. Onions, you know what, for how much my family uses of them, it's cheaper for me just to purchase a bag here or there than it is to grow in the garden, as my family is not a big onion fanatic. Plant what you like to eat. always. So the herbs are also going to go into a completely different herb bed than the garden. That is why they are not on this plan. So we will be planting a few different spots, but this is the garden spot that is always dynamic, always changing, and that needs to be rotated because we're always dealing with the same plants. You never want to plant the plants in the same spot as much as you can. There you have it, you guys. The garden is planned out on paper. Now it's time to execute it in the garden. So I will see you back when the rain has stopped, the sun is out, and we are going to start making these rows and positioning the fabric. I'm going to be using fabric, I'm going to be using black plastic, and get the hoops in place, get everything ready for planting day. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.